Monday Night Football, baby. We're here.
There's only one other good play on Minnesota.
Touchdown in 46 seconds. Punches back. Touchdown.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another morning edition of the UFC Breakdown with Mike Brown, aka H3 Buddha, and JSU. JSU, we are, for the first time in UFC history, in Doha, Qatar, with 14 fights. And I gotta be honest, this slate, man, it's all over the place. We got a little bit of value. We've had a canceled fight. What about Waldo? Where is Waldo? I think they just said, where's Waldo? Bang, they called him up. He makes weight. Bang, he's in this good spot here. And coming in as a favorite, which is wild. But the context of this card, no women's MMA. First fight of the night is a Dana White Contender Series fight. It's kind of a fun slate. And I think you can take some stances on this one, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Fun slate. We got 14 fights here. Some good fights too, honestly, on this card. Love that Waldo stepped up, whatever, cutting the weight, getting there, doing what he had to do, and he's ready to go. So I'm pumped to see him in there with Shamil. I think that's going to be a fun matchup too, honestly. So yeah, it's a good card. We got some good fights here. And definitely some live dogs on this card we'll get to, but I do think there's a bunch of live dogs here.
Isn't there fights that you can just cross off as well? That's how crazy it is. I felt like all week when I was building lineups, even before Waldo got added to the pool, because now we have that interesting situation where they're both the same price essentially. I felt like there was less fights on this slate than there are. Like maybe I'm just honing in on certain guys on this slate. I mean, what am I doing here? I mean, it's like, then you got the Almakhan and Taporia fight right there in the mid-range. It's just like there's a congestion of like coin flip type of spots too. It's I don't know how to break this one down from like a macro standpoint, because I feel like you could make a case for any fighter too, right? Like I think every single fighter could win besides Sakuria.
Well, I think that's what makes it a fun. I think that's what makes it a fun card, is that, like, there's just so many dogs that you can make cases for, and I think it's going to spread it out. It looks like, anyways, with the ownership I'm looking at right now, it could spread out the ownership, especially in the cheaper range. I think the guys at the top, we're going to see more condensed ownership towards certain guys, but it's the dogs where I think you're going to see more of a spread out, cheaper range here when it comes to ownership. So yeah, that's what makes it a fun card, and getting the dogs right is going to be crucial here. But let's dive in. First of all, listen, okay, the step stool was fine. There was no screws loose, did not fall, did not hit my head. It's early, okay? Mike is not an early person. You got to give him credit for getting up. He's not feeling well either, so he's fighting, he's battling through a little sickness here. But you can tell by the way Mike is talking in the morning. He's definitely not a morning person.
You should see me at work. Actually, should be there. Owner should be.
You remind me of like one of my brothers who, whenever he wakes up early, is like miserable.
Oh, it's
like
terrible.
miserable.
I'm down in coffee.
And then he'll call me up and he'll be like, "Oh, it was the worst. I had to get up at 9 a.m. instead of 10 a.m. or whatever." And he's just like, and I'm just laughing in my head. It's like,
and then I mentioned, hey,
you're calling me. I had to get up at like 4 a.m. for work every day for like fucking 15 years. Like,
I say I'm going to take a nap and you roast me. Is Run Pure Sports is not a nap organization here? I mean, what's going
Big T
on?
loves naps.
Good.
I'm against naps. Big T loves himself a fucking nap. So yeah, definitely not. Let's dive in here.
You've got a lot of people in chat already. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We have literally a contender series type level fight in the first fight of the night with a lot of love on one side. We have Denzel Freeman versus Marek Bachol. We have Freeman coming in on DraftKings Sportsbook at a minus 225. We have the comeback on Biohol as a plus 185. I mentioned it right off the bat that it is a type of contender series fight, but it's a heavyweight fight, and it's going to be crucial. You're going to know where your lineups are immediately on this slate. So that is a beautiful thing that we get to deep dealt. But I'm staring at a guy in Freeman who is going to push 40% when you said that there's going to be ownership kind of condensed towards the top guys, the Yakiev and TSARUKYAN. This is the other guy that really is getting number 2, 3 ownership here, you know, when you get off of those two guys. And it's a very good friendly scoring for DraftKings purposes with takedowns. But, you know, there are so many good leverage spots on this slate. And what do? I like buying into unknowns on Dana White's contender series. I would, if this fight took place in the Apex on a Tuesday night, I don't know how I wouldn't at least take a shot on a Biohol just from the pure standpoint of he's live. When it hits the mat, he's got jiu-jitsu. Who the hell knows what it looks like on the feet. I think it's going to be somewhat grappling from what I'm gauging. But, I mean, this is going to be a really important fight because half the field essentially is going to be owning Freeman, JSU.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's kind of warranted. To be honest with you, I view him as right up there with some of those low 9K fighters. I think he's a better play than some of those 9K. So I think it's just a misprice, and the fact that Freeman has fought the way better competition. He actually beat someone who just won on the contender series 2 fights ago, and won pretty good, anyways. Asplund. He beat that dude. He finished him via sub, but he beat him up. He clearly won that fight. And I think if you go through Freeman's, who he's fought guys that at least have wins on their record, multiple wins too, not just like one win or no, like multiple wins, 6, 7, 8 wins. He's fought those guys. This other dude, he's fought nobody. Like all of the dudes he's fought, I don't think they have a win combined. Like the six fighters he's fought combined, I don't think there's one win on any of their records here. It's either 1 or 2 losses.
That's
so it. I mean, the clearly the better competition is on the Freeman side. I do think he's got really good wrestling. It could play into the jiu-jitsu, and we could see a lot of ground game in this one, but I think Freeman has the edge, honestly, if it goes to the wrestling, unless he gets caught in something weird. I think he's going to be heavy on top. He throws heavy when he's on top, and he does have some submissions as well. But I think on the feet, he clearly has the edge as well. So I view this as, the Freeman is just the clear path here, and I think he's kind of mispriced at 8,600. So I'm on the Freeman side. I also think that the under is a good play here in this one. Under 1.5 minus 154. I think this fight's going to end in under a round and a half. So yeah, I like this spot. I think it's going to be, like Josh says, a smash spot for Freeman here, and I'm going to be heavy on Freeman in my lineups.
Makes a lot of sense. We look for the value, especially for fantasy purposes. And when you're getting a guy that is priced, way off of that 9K range at 8,600, going to eat, who cares about the ownership, right? It's a guy that is 65% to win the fight. It's going to be, I think it's going to close closer to like 70, 75. I think people are going to get behind it, honestly. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense with the wrestling. I'm just talking about leverage purely. If you have the cojones to play Biohol, he's going to be 20%. I think it's because it's the heavyweight division that he's going to garner that much ownership. Let's be honest. That's why he's going to do it. But when I look at pick 6 markets, I get 9.5 strikes. This is a jiu-jitsu type of guy in Biohol. Can he kick his leg 10 times for us? I mean, this number is wild. This number saying,
can he kick his leg 10 times until he gets taken down? I don't know. I think after like the second kick, he's getting taken down. So
I know.
I think he's probably going to allow it. I wish we could take the under on that. I think it goes under. What's that? 92.5 right there. Is that fantasy points?
That's fantasy points. And the thing about it is you're getting, what is it? Minus, what is he now? Like a 200 favorite. I don't know if that necessarily correlates well with
minus 225.
It's pretty close to accurate, but even at that number, when they get that first round equity, it's it's right there at that 92.5.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I would go more
plug and play.
Yeah,
you're just using.
I can't go under on the strike, so I got to go more on the fantasy points.
No, it makes a lot of sense, especially because of the metrics. And
did I really say 6-7? Did I really say that in the breakdown? Oh,
the record. The
record. Yeah, damn.
That's unreal. Oh man.
Do a little this after. That's what the kids do these days.
So one of the fight. Oh, you know who did that was the flyweight guy that killed Matt Schnell. Oh man, he came back in Morales. Remember, Morales did it, and I'm like, oh man. I think he did it for his kids though, so
probably
whatever. That's fine. Let's move on to the next one where we see Nurullo Aliyev versus Shamrock. We have Aliyev coming in as a favorite here on DraftKings of minus 298. Come back on Shamrock, a plus 240. This is going to be one of two training partners of Paddy Pimblett. That's it. That's all you're going to hear. It's a training partner of Paddy Pimblett. Shamrock coming in here. But when you look at Nurullo Aliyev, talk about a fantasy darling. He hasn't scored very well, which is funny, but he's got the direct path to destroy any slate if he can actually get a finish. I think it's correlated to a finish, though, don't you? Like, he's got the takedowns. He's got the control time. He just doesn't have that vicious switch turned on. It could be a spot here where, they're getting a training partner of Paddy Pimblett. This is the next thing, right? But he didn't have a lot of hype coming into the UFC. He could have gone the Contender Series. There's some of these names that they've brought into this card that I think they want to fill a certain situation, right? It should be a striker versus a grappler. Earlier in the week, I think that Shamrock is live early. I will give him that. Like, if they're on the feet, he couldn't hurt him early. Definitely has equity there. But I think Aliyev's style will just grind him down. We've seen Aliyev get a little tired deeper into fights. Maybe Shem just has a little bit extra after he gets cooked. But I got to be honest, this freaking ownership has me so interested. When I look at this entire slate, and one of the most interesting plays on this slate is Aliyev for me. How is he 10%? He's so low compared to every single favorite on this slate outside of Gary. Let cross Gary off, right? He's an incredibly easy guy to get into your lineups as well. Shamrock expected to be higher owned at about 30%. Maybe he comes in a little bit lower, like 25, but based on ownership, I have to play Aliyev.
Yeah, I think Aliyev is just a terrible play, even at ownership. The reason why he doesn't score well is because he is completely, position over submission. He doesn't throw a lot of volume, even when he's on the ground. He's not getting a ton of takedowns because his control is so solid. Look at it, 2 and 3 takedowns in his first 2 UFC fights, 8 and 11, almost 12 minutes of control time. And those two, so almost 20 minutes of control time in 2 fights is insane, but that's not what you want for fantasy if he's not throwing a ton of ground strikes, if he's not going for submissions, which he's really not as much going hunting for the finish. That's not what you want in a 9K fighter. And the problem is, just like the Joe Solecki fight, Solecki was very comfortable off of his back, and he tried to get him in the triangle and certain submissions a couple times. It didn't work. Aliyev doesn't panic. He stayed safe, and you don't want that for your guy. And Shamrock does have submissions. He could be comfortable just getting to the grappling because that's where he clearly wants to be. And Aliyev, if he doesn't get caught, might be able to just control the position. or it's like where they almost cancel each other out, Mike, where it ends up being like a striking battle. And 9,200, he's not scoring good in a striking battle either here. So he got outstruck by Joe Solecki in that third round, lost that third round. So at 9,200, I would rather take a shot on the dog in DFS. I think Shamrock is the better play at the price tag, and I would rather take a shot that maybe we get lucky and he catches them in something and Aleve in something. So I'm totally out on Aleve. I get what you're saying about the ownership. I got to see it. I don't think you're going to see volume takedowns because I think the control is going to be good if he gets him down, or I think it's going to be striking. If he feels like he's not as safe on the ground, then it will go to striking. But he's pretty good at, I feel like, staying somewhat safe on the ground. And, I don't think he's going to throw the volume you want. So, yeah, lower on Aleve and or out on Aleve and like a little of the dog, Shamrock.
If you like them by a finish, I just saw on DraftKings Sportsbook best market price out there, a plus 400. Look at that compared to the market being about plus 325.
I said I hope. I said we hope. Like for DFS, we hope. I don't think he actually gets it. I think Aleve is good enough to stay safe. The only way I could see him finishing him, Mike, is if we get like later in the second
round 3.
Yeah.
It's going to be when he's like huffing and puffing.
Like an end of round 2 or round 3, because he will slow down. And honestly, slow down in fights where he's kind of controlling the whole thing. He's not throwing a lot out there. I get guys that get tired because they're trying to finish, right, Mike? Because when you're trying to finish, you can give everything for the finish and then tire yourself out a little bit. That's not really what he's doing. And he's still getting somewhat tired late in fights.
Look at all these canceled fights. You think this guy's a little injury prone too?
No, we're not going there. Yeah.
No. I'm just saying. I'm helping your point. If anything, I'm helping. I'm helping your point. I want.
What's his fantasy number on pick 6?
We're gonna lag here in a second. It'll pull up in a second.
It's gotta be like. What do you think? Like 80 something?
Aleve? Yeah, I hope it's like 77.5. I didn't remember it. It's pulling up here in a second.
Yeah,
but I told you about the ownership being 10%. That's what has me very interested. Here's the thing. I'm trying to pivot off of guys like Yakiev and TSARUKYAN. I'll talk about a little bit later
why though, when you can just pivot at the bottom. This is my point, is more like I think the studs are the studs. Like I think where you pivot is the bottom. I think you're gonna win with the bottom tier, getting the dogs right.
Yeah, but if you mix, so where do you think the TSARUKYAN, Yakiev, both in the same lineups hit? Do you think people start building their lineups that way? Because that was one of my questions when I was building. If I started with those two guys, I could still build a lineup that I had confidence in, right?
Easily. Yeah.
So I feel like if I'm picking one of them, perhaps the lower of the two owned of them, with a guy like Aleve, and if Aleve outscores Yakiev by 5 points, I'm happy.
Maybe then what you want to do is say, I don't want TSARUKYAN and Yakiev in the same lineup. Almost like you're just like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to play them in the same lineup, but maybe that's what you want to do. And
that's a safer build, right? Yeah, like that's going to be a non-GPP where you and I like that middle range more, I assume.
Right. The problem is the middle range is not as good on other slates as it is on this slate. So what do we got for fantasy?
85.5 for Aleve. I thought it said control time 14.5 for a second there.
Oh my God. I was going to be like, that's crazy.
Oh my God.
Do we get control time? What is
8.5 on control time?
Holy crap. 8.5?
That's insane. That's basically saying he gets it early and then somehow he takes, he gets back up by the end of the round on all rounds.
Do we think he gets more than 2.5 takedowns?
That's such a good line, because if he's tired by the third, that third takedown ain't there. I do. I think he gets over. I think that number over is the play.
We could click the more on that for now. I'm cool with that.
In strike wise, you can't touch a fight like this for strikes. So Pick six market is
the only
what it
reason
is.
I wouldn't, unless you see a finish. If you see an early finish, like on the ground, that would be I just don't see that. So another fight I like the over in.
Yep, no, I like it. I understand. Makes a lot of sense. We move on to the next fight of the night where we see Ismail Nardiev versus Ryan Loder. We have Ryan Loder getting some love here on the betting market. He's down to a plus 105 underdog here against Ismail Nardiev's minus 125 on DraftKings Sportsbook. When you talked about earlier potentially two fighters kind of negating itself, I see negate all over it here. You have Ishmael who goes in there for the takedown. He tries to power you down. Everything with him is muscle. And that leads to him just by the end of it, huffing and puffing, throwing sloppy strikes to keep you off of him, keep distance so he doesn't get taken down himself. And Ryan Loder is not the best fighter in the world, but he comes from a wrestling background. So I feel like if he can stuff some of these takedowns early, keep it somewhat compelling on the feet, Loder could cook him late. I actually do think that that's in the picture here. And at plus 105 for potential ownership of, all these underdogs are somewhat in this range, going to be sprinkled in for me. So, it's going to be different. When you look at ownership, 20%, I don't hate him as a play. Nardiev, you're looking for him to go out there in 30-26, a guy, not 29-28. When he 29-28 somebody, it's usually a striker. Ryan Loder isn't a striker. I think people are buying into the Loder's shot type of situation, and he very well could be. I think that's very much on the table. When it comes to the fight as a whole, it's somewhat lower owned compared to other fights. I just can't get behind Nordiev with a lot of confidence. I think Ryan Loder is live here, and the betting market is certainly getting behind it.
Yeah, the betting market, the line keeps moving in Loder's favor. Plus 105 on DraftKings Sportsbook right now. Nerdiev sitting at minus 125. And I get it, honestly, because I agree with your breakdown. I think this fight, the breakdown is I think Nerdiev is super live early to get a finish. I think he's live to get a KO. We saw Ryan Loder try to just show how tough he was and swing with Bukoyev, and that didn't work out for him. Maybe he does that here, but if he could just stay alive, withstand that first round, I do think Nerdiev will slow down and Ryan Loder can kind of take over from there. So I can see both sides of this argument. I think from a betting standpoint, it's clear the Loder side, I do lean, but for DFS, I want both sides of this fight. This is one of the fights that I'm going to have a decent amount of both fighters here. And I'm getting like 75% of this fight in my runs.
And that's just based on the potential ugliness of it. Let's be honest, right? I think you're buying into, even if it negates itself from the grappling aspect, there'll be enough volume on the feet. There'll be enough, maybe even clinch control. Let's be honest, right? Even if either the guy doesn't get him down, they might hold against the cage and get that compacted scoring where you're getting a lot out of it. Last week, I wanted to bring that up. Honestly, we didn't break down last week, but there were a lot of fighters that were holding against the cage and getting hidden scoring. Did you see that? I said it multiple times in Discord that I think it was one of the women's fights, honestly. She was holding her against the cage and just doing those little body taps, right? Because you're getting control time plus the significant strikes, if they're significant, right? Who the hell knows what UFC stats going to do? But hidden scoring has been very valuable over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's just tough. That you could see that here where they're up against the fence a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely, I feel like it's more in women's fights where they're getting counted for more of those strikes than the guys do. So
Fatima Klein season, baby.
Oh, she's
if
great.
we don't mention her on the show that we eventually do here in
How'd
January,
she not get a finish in that fight? Damn.
I
thought we were going to get it at the end with that Angie, that spinning elbow or whatever she did at the end. And I was like, oh my God, we're going to get it at the very end. That shit was crazy, but.
Yeah, pick six wise on this one. They're both essentially the same play. So pick six is following that money movement and even making Loder more of a value. Well, more projected points for this.
Yeah.
I would love to take the under personally on Nardiev strikes, but the problem is when you see this, they could just strike for 3 rounds. That's a big issue. All these lines are somewhat accurate from what I'm seeing. I don't think we need to jam anything here.
I don't think we need to jam it. Maybe the under on loader takedowns. I feel like those won't be easy early anyway. So if he gets one, I don't know. It just kind of depends. Maybe we'll just save this fight, come back to it if we need it.
You got it. I saw in chat somebody say Dalby and Bogdan ownership. That's fine. I'll give it to you right now. We've got Dalby coming in at about 15% owned. Bogdan is the favorite from everybody. Everybody loves them. 30% owned for him. So we'll talk about those two guys a little bit later on. Let's move on to a very, very back and forth contested fight from Twitter, from the actual fight itself, to is this a good brother or a bad brother? Alexandre Topuria versus Beksat Almakhan. We have Topuria coming in as a favorite now at minus 130. Comeback on Almakhan is a plus 110 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Push and pull, push and pull. Where is it going to end? It looks like Topuria will close as the favorite here. And it's name value. If you had no name value in this fight, maybe you would know, Kazaki wrestler-based power striker. That's what Almakhan is. He's a power striking with the base of wrestling. I don't think you're going to have what you have in this fight. The betting line, I think it's going to be probably minus 150 is that more accurate Almakhan line. And ownership obviously wants to find underdogs, and it's $8K for a guy that is 35% owned. I think two things. One, Almakhan could just win this fight outright. Totally just outright win it and kill that ownership for Topuria. Or this fight could bust. I know it's wild to say because the pricing is beautiful, but like out of all of the 8K fights, like say Ulanbekov down, this is one that could absolutely bust. Just like one guy has success, the other guy has success, and then who knows, flip a coin in the third round. It's up for grabs. I really do think that it could bust. It's a great fight to target. I think that there's only one play here. And can you smell what I'm cooking?
I don't know if I can smell what you're cooking, and I don't know if we're gonna agree on this fight either. So
there's only one play. There's only one play.
All right. Well, who's the play?
It might be the leverage side, because who cares about $200 on this slate? Almakhan has finishing power.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe we.
I know. Yeah, I was hoping you'd catch it. Yeah, I just don't. I'm trying to sniff out potential busts on this slate, and Topuria defines bust at 35% owned at 8K.
Yeah, Topuria, we saw him against, Colby Thickness, and Thickness doesn't really have great striking, and he was finding the mark a little bit at times. Now, Topuria does, I think, have good, defensive striking, staying safe, but the speed difference going from Colby Thickness to Beksat is so different here, and he's going to feel it immediately, just like when he stepped up to fight Umar, and Umar was like, oh shit, about 30 seconds in, he was like, this dude is fucking fast. He said, I'm not playing with this dude. He got dropped once, and then he's like, I'm wrestling for the next two and a half rounds because I am not striking with this dude or standing on the feet with him. He is so fast. Mm-hmm. And I think Topuria is going to feel that. And does Topuria have the wrestling control to keep someone like Beksat at bay? We saw even Umar at times in the second round. He reversed Umar a couple times, and I was like, oh shit, like this dude's explosive. Like this dude is talented. So I'm with you on the Beksat side. From a betting standpoint, I'm betting him. I do think as well that from a DFS standpoint, this fight could definitely bust. There's no finish. Beksat, he wants to kind of bounce around, stay at range, and Topuria wants to kind of stay safe in and out. if there's not like a ton of takedowns, if there's not a finish, which both these guys seem pretty tough, I could see this fight not going to the cards easily. And if it goes to the cards, it could bust. So I like the over in this fight as well. I respect both guys enough to take the over, but my pick is definitely Bexet, and I will have some of him in DFS just because he does have that one punch type, put you to sleep. And like I said, the speed is going to be a factor for me. So, yeah,
Well, it's a
I'm on
leverage.
the Bexet side.
It's a leverage card. I'm going to have lineups, and this is going to be crazy to say, that has 3, perhaps 4 pieces of leverage just to really try to shake things up in my lineups. And for $200, even though you're paying $200 more, it's a third of the ownership. And like you said, it's an explosive fighter, a guy that I think against anybody else is going to be a favorite, right? Like anybody of this lower tier division is going to be at that price tag. But I knew by the end of this thing, you don't invest in Almacan when he was minus 115 early in the week. You wait until that money comes in on Topuria, which I think it was pretty predictable, right? Now we're down to whatever, minus 135. And Topuria actually has the highest inside the distance on DraftKings Sportsbook if you think he wins that way. But yeah, we kind of nailed this one. I think it's a tricky spot for fantasy because people are just going to blindly pick Topuria. So like think higher dollar or single entry.
Oh, people are definitely, the last name is coming into a point here with something like Topuria because Bexat is super talented, and I think he's a tough dude to finish, and I get why. And Topuria is smart. I do think that, like, he's one of those guys. I don't think he's just going to go out there trying to crush this dude. He's going to realize that quick with the speed. They're going to have a game plan. I don't think they're going to run through this dude either. So, yeah.
He has to slow the pace of the fight down, which negatively correlates to that 35% owned in one of the more popular underdog plays, if not the most popular underdog play. Pick 6, anything you're seeing here? I mean, even they're saying low scoring fight. Like,
how do we not get over the 25? I guess just an early KO from Bexet.
Grappling. Maybe
or
they
grappling.
potentially.
You think Topuria is going to be able to hold him down?
Oh, like you think Topuria would go? Let's take a peek at the fight odds.
I'm telling you, I don't think he's going to like the speed of Bexet. Could be wrong.
I can't believe these prices on the offshore. I would think that Bexat would maybe mix in takedowns, just based on you want to mitigate the prospect, right? In Topuria, like I don't hate on the offshore books a plus 200 if that's actually out there.
I think he wants to strike more than I think you're throwing out there.
Well, I mean, win rounds. Just I want a smart fighter. I want him to win the round.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm saying that line is more like, does this fight finish early? The over under is minus 115, 2.5 over under.
Yeah.
I think we respect both these guys' toughness. I don't know if we're getting a round and a half. I think he goes over that number. And I don't think he's a guy that's going to just lay and pray on Topuria, even if he did take him down.
And it's a competitive fight. If it's a competitive fight, these numbers should be shooting up through the roof. Let's be honest.
I'm telling you, I think the takedowns might be hard to get on top of it either way.
Yeah, and
just
with the only hesitation I would have is if one of them feels each other's power and then they just go defensive mode and slow the pace down. Well, let's pencil the Almacan over. You and I are probably one of the only 2 people out there in the pod sphere of
There's
MMA.
No way that other people aren't taking Bexet.
I have him in DFS and not like super heavy, but enough to be over the field and happy with either a bust. I don't even care if it busts. Just kill some of the Topuria love out there. But yeah, I think that's how I'm going to be handling this one. Now we have everyone's favorite new toy, Abdulrahman Yakiev. Nailed it. Fucking nailed it. Versus Rafael Sarukwa. How did I mess that one up?
I think.
Sequeira?
I don't know.
How the fuck is this guy in the UFC? 0-4. Anyways, well, he's here to do a job, wrestling, old school wrestling guy, going to be able to do the job. Minus 2,100 for Yakyayev coming in off the Contender Series win, quick win. Sakura just straight lose. A lot of losses, but the big thing was Yakyayev has everything. He was coming into the Contender Series tested. He was battle tested. He had striking. He had grappling. He's got many, many ways to win this fight. Sakura has been doing nothing but giving up fantasy equity, whether it be on the mat. I think there's so much safety in this spot for Yakyayev that we have not seen with some of the heaviest favorites in a long, long time. I think you have the takedowns if you need them. I think you've got the knockdown equity if you need that. He's super easy to get into your lineup. 90% of the time, I'm saying, hey, if a guy is $300 more than anybody else on the slate, the highest priced guy, potentially fade, I think it's difficult to fade him. And honestly, you could argue that he is a way better play than TSARUKYAN, even with TSARUKYAN having 5 rounds to work with, because Rachmanov is going to score pillar to post. And I just think all these betting lines, he could potentially close even higher than a minus 2,100 here. We look at the inside the distance, also minus like 1,200. It's insane. It's one of the biggest lines we've seen. It's banana peel pricing. So if he slips on a banana peel, that's maybe how he loses. What are we looking at? For fantasy wise, I'm expecting him at 51%. Now I'll go exact type of numbers versus TSARUKYAN's 53%. So I'm looking at these two guys as the same exact play, and one guy has 5 rounds, the other guy has legit quick win bonus, or I think a deep first round finish for this guy could be 135 points. And I know that's crazy to say, but when you mix in takedowns, control time, potential knockdowns, he's got an endless ceiling.
Yeah, he does. And I do think, when you look at someone like Sakura, he's getting taken down a bunch by Julius Walker. If he gets taken down early, I think it's going to end early, Mike, is the point. Because this dude looks pretty good. I bet the plus 200 by submission. And I think the only thing we're like fading there is he folds from like the first couple punches and doesn't fight. But the good thing about Sakura is, he knows like he probably doesn't have a lot more fights left in the UFC. This is probably it. So like he might, not fold instantly. So we might get like drop him and then go from there and get the sub from the bottom. So, or, I could see Yayev just saying like, hey, my path, this dude got taken down 6 times. I'm just going to take this dude down and smash him and sub him. So yeah, I like him obviously. And, it's just a matter of like, how much of him are you going to get compared to TSARUKYAN? Are you going to play them both together? Are you going to fade one of them and hope one of the fight busts? It does feel tough though on this card to think like a bust would be him not getting the bonus.
5.
Yeah.
It's sad to say, but when you look at it, it's probably 105 fantasy points, quote unquote, being a bust. And pick 6 is saying 109.5. That would basically require 2 knockdowns in the first round.
109.5. That's a crazy line right there. That's just telling you everything you need to know. Yeah.
I know it's accurate and it's scary because
like honestly, we should be slamming the less, even though like he could easily get over that. The line is just high. Even the under on strikes I could see, but I don't know if we want
90 points off the bat for the first round. Even if he doesn't, I still think that number is in play to be smashed.
Yeah.
Like you said, takedowns. I like to break the pie up that way, just like you did. When you said that you like the sub line, everyone loves themselves the knockout line. This is a minus 1,200 fight to end here, folks. Like, we're not talking about a fight, and the knockout is minus 175. That number should be a lot lower if they're saying it's going to end by knockout, because sub being plus 200 is a wild number for a guy who constantly gets taken down in Sakira.
Exactly. That's my point. And if he gets taken down, like, it could be over quickly. So
I mean, in this whole slate comes down to how you're building your lineups. You looked at it exactly precisely how I am. I'm not looking at this as will Yakiev win or not. It's not about that. It's about how you're going to be building your lineups on this slate. We move on to the next fight of the night, where we see Alex Perez versus Asu Almabayev. We have Almabayev as a minus 192 favorite on DraftKings Sportsbook versus Perez plus 160. A little bit of buyback on Perez through the week. This is an untrustworthy guy. Let me get it out of the way. I don't know about you, but Alex Perez is not trustworthy. I think there's durability issues. I think sometimes he gets in his own head, but he's super, super talented. And for that, if he can negate some of these takedowns, this fight gets very interesting. And I think even if he reverses, he's been able to keep up with some of the guys on the mat. And when I talk about mixing in underdogs on this slate, he is 20%. He's kind of in that mixed bag of Biahol and him. And I guess if you want to a lesser degree, Loader is going to be a little bit higher owned, but kind of in that same range, right? And I wonder if he's one of the odd people out. I know you and I looked at the survey, are going to be on perhaps Orogutsi. So I think that's, just too low owned at 10%. But is Perez potentially the lower man out of all these underdogs? And on the flip side, you're getting a low-owned Almabayev, who has a direct path to scoring a lot of fantasy points. I mean, let's not, short sell the potential takedowns. I mean, 3.5 takedown line on pick 6 says a lot, and a lot for scoring ability too, especially if Perez is shot.
Yeah. So first of all, I do like Alex Perez as a fighter. My problem with Alex Perez is, that last fight against Tatsuro Taira, if you remember it, like he got the injury, and is he just how did he come back from that injury? I don't know. But leading up to that fight, Mike, I remember because I had I had Perez in that fight. I bet Perez in that fight, just because I thought the line was wide. I thought he was gonna make it hard for Taira to get the takedowns, and that's kind of what we saw through about a round and a half. Taira was not getting takedowns. He was getting Alex Perez was throwing that leg kick out there. He was beating up the leg a little. When they were getting in tight, he was using his, tight boxing. And you could see Taira's face was red. Alex Perez was having success on Tatsuro Taira. And Taira couldn't really find like the shot, right? So then all of a sudden, Taira just says, screw it. And he shoots from way out. He gets it. And one thing Alex Perez does do is he will give up his back. He will, when you get him, he will do that. And someone like Asu, I think what's going to happen is he's just going to do exactly what Tatsuro Taira did, but he's not going to wait as long. He's just going to shoot from far out on Alex Perez and just try and get a hold of him and hope he just, makes a mistake and gives up his back. Because when you do that against someone like Asu, he's going to backpack you and he's going to control you and stuff like that. So I think Asu could, probably wins a decision here. This would normally be a fight, though, where I'd take Alex Perez because I think he has all the tools to stop Asu. And we've seen Asu lose a fight where he's not getting takedowns, or a closer fight where, when he's not getting takedowns, the fights look a lot closer for Asu because on the feet, he doesn't have a ton to offer, right?
Alex Perez has the boxing to make this thing.
He does. He has the leg kicks in the boxing, right?
He can make it one-sided. Honestly, it could just look like $1 million on the
I worry more about just him, his injuries and stuff like that, how much he's back from his injuries. Because if he didn't have that injury, I fully believe he beats Tatsuro Taira in that fight.
I was going to say, he's a guy that is a perennial top 5 guy when he's healthy. And it's like, why would he come back just to get beat again? I feel like it's a guy that wants to continue to be competitive, try to work up the rankings, or else hang it up, dude. Like, he would be a great coach, let's be honest, for a lot of these young guys.
Well, I think he's still good, right? Like, again, I keep saying it, but what you saw in that fight up to the injury, looked pretty good to me. You know what I mean? Like, respectful to, even if he did lose that fight, he wasn't getting dominated at any point of that fight. Nothing. It was just a weird thing where Tyra was leaning one way and he was trying to whip him off his back, kind of, and the knee just, it just kind of gave out, and that's what happened. But like up to that point, I think, Asu's a guy I struggle with, because I think Perez could still make it hard for him to get, 6, 7, 8 takedowns. But
this number is accurate.
I do. Yeah, honestly. And I do think Perez could get him like where he's only getting like 3, and he maybe gets under that thing, but that might be enough, because you can't give your back to someone like Asu. He's going to take advantage of that.
I'm staring right here at Asu Amabayev total takedowns. They do not have the over-under on DraftKings Sportsbook. They just start the first ladder at 5 takedowns at plus 165. So they firmly believe that 4 takedowns, if you kind of backtrack it, right, it should be what, minus 150 is what they're saying, essentially, to 4 takedowns. They think it's going to be 4 takedowns. I would love to click it, because statistically I should, but I think objectively he still has to get those takedowns.
Yeah, and Perez is going to try and make it tough. Yeah, I think it's a tough one to. I probably won't touch it, to be honest with you.
And I got to be honest, I love Perez, but it's like I don't love him because there are so many commodities that are like him on this slate. We talked about building your lineups. I'm not going to just stick my flag in on Perez. I'm making multiple lineups. This is a multiple lineup card slate. If you're not making multiples, I think you're doing it wrong, because you need exposure to a lot of different type of plays that are essentially the same. And Perez isn't necessarily leverage, right? He's going to be higher owned than Almabayev.
Right.
And Almabayev technically has the more scoring ability with the takedowns from a DraftKings standpoint. It's going to be an interesting fight, a very lower owned fight, and one that's going to be very interesting for the context of the slate, I would definitely say. So pick 6 wise, I don't think we're going to land on anything, because when it's competitive, the strikes are going to be up there. Almabayev, I wish we could take the under, but we can't because of his scoring ability. And I wish that number was lower.
So what's Asu's number for strikes? 20 what?
26.5.
Do we think that Perez is tough enough where he can keep him on the feet a little longer?
So in his, I do. His decision wins 44, 20, 22, 22.
A lot of control time in those wins.
Yeah. So. And then I swear the UFC stats, fight metric, once you're in that top position and you're just like, even if you're throwing like elbows, I swear that they're like, that's just a strike.
The ground strikes are kind of bullshit. I agree.
So I don't know if we can gamble on that one. I mean, that's a gamble. So let's hold off on it. The one I would do would be over, just based on stats being a minus whatever 150 range, what it would be for 4 takedowns. But even that, a fluke finish, right, would kill that right away. So let's move on to the next fight of the night, where we see Nicholas Dalby versus Saiged Izagakmiov. Izagakmiov?
I mean, sounds pretty close.
Saiged? Never heard of it, but
Saiged, yeah.
Nicholas Dalby coming in here, obviously, as the veteran. He is a big underdog for the slate. He's Saiged a minus 340 on DraftKings Sportsbook, a plus 270 for Nicholas Dalby. What the fuck are they doing? Have you seen them, like, he coming off of a karate combat, right? Like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? 2022 was the fight before it. What's going on here, JSU? Why is he coming in off of a huge layoff in a guy that was getting finishes against very tenured type of guys overseas? And now they're like, his losses are against UFC competition. Charleston Harris was a UFC type of guy, serviceable, right? He could do a little bit of everything. I have no clue who the Silviero guy is, but like, the fuck are we doing here, man? This is the most odd fight on the whole entire slate, and there's some odd fights because Nicholas Dalby has set back a lot of prospects in the past. As long as he's durable, I think he's pretty shot. Personally, I think he's just hit the cliff where it's just not going to be. But he could certainly have enough in the tank. I mean, look he's still going against younger guys. Randy Brown, your Fakhr I mean, come on, man.
That Fakhr fight
that's bullshit. But I mean, look at Gabe Bonfim. I mean, it's like, and everyone loved Solikov the other week. I wish I could get. I want to, from a DFS standpoint, from a bet standpoint, want to get behind Dalby so badly, but I've got well, it's not an OV, it's an AEV in Qatar.
Someone said it above. Beware of the judges if the fights go to decision with where they're fighting. And yes, definitely. If you see over in fights, if you like overs, like the over round lines in fights, I would be I'd be betting on the
split,
the specific specific fighters in those instances, but or maybe just bet over unders in those fights if you want to bet the fights. Just take the round line or something like that. Then you don't have to worry about who wins or getting screwed. I do think I agree with you that Nicholas Dalby might be a little shot, but at the same time, Mike, he has. His style is going to give certain fighters issues who want to come in and just bully, take him down, because if he can withstand that and you get tired, we know he's going to at least try and move forward. That's his style. He's going to move forward. He's going to try and pressure you almost into a finish, right? Because he's just so in your face all the time. He's doing the weird breathing shit, and he's just making you uncomfortable. So the question is just like, can he withstand the initial stuff, and can Saigid kind of continue that for 3 rounds or get the finish? It does kind of feel like Nicholas Dalby might be fading a little bit, and I wouldn't be shocked if he got finished again. But I do think it's a fight. Honestly, you can attack a little bit of both sides. Nicholas Dalby's super cheap. I think he has a path. The path is tight, but he definitely has a path to finding a finish. Like you said, he stopped some good fighters. That Fakhr fight, I think, is bullshit. Like you said, I think you won that fight. Losing to Randy Brown is not. Randy Brown's a good fighter. You know what I mean? He's got power and stuff like that. So
the point of no return for me is a 10-year age gap. The speed should win out. Everything should just be trending towards the younger fighter. And it's like, Dalby isn't a guy that's going to go in there and impose his will. He's more of a counter. I'll sit back. I'll wait for you to tire out. I'll wear a little bit of damage to then take over the fight. Like, if Dalby's going to win this fight, it's 2-3. I think he's going to have a little adversity here in the first. Hell, he's going to have adversity in the whole entire fight. But everything in my body wants to click him. I can't.
I'm going to have some of them.
I literally can't. I mean, I was looking a minute ago. It was not that it's going to happen. I love numbers that are just outliers on the market. A plus 900 on DraftKings is the biggest number for Dalby inside the distance. I'm not calling it, but that's a plus EV when you're getting 2.5 points of value compared to every other book. That's a really good number.
Yeah, and I mean, he's not a finisher though. That's like not really.
Well, he's gonna. It would require like gassing out, right? If he comes out too fast, and then Dalby takes over 2-3. So I
forgot about this. Brandon makes a good last card that was over there. Are here. The refs were not allowing ground control time against the cage. Yeah. They were separating immediately. Saudi pays for action. LOL.
Was Brandon great point. But wasn't that the card too where they were like sweating? Wasn't it the one where they put the tent up and they were all sweating? So they were really, really a lot of sloppy ground transitions too. I think it was that one where we saw a lot of ground.
I'm not sure.
But then they were like, slipping off each other's back and stuff. It was just some weird stuff because of.
Do you have
where it
ownership
was.
on this fight?
I do. Ownership on this fight. Dalby is coming in at 15% owned. Lower owned off of some of the other big guys. It's 20% for Ismagaki Mayev. Yeah, whatever. Buy a vowel. I got to buy a vowel.
Saigid.
And Saigid itself is a kind of an interesting name. But what are we going to pull up pick 6 here for this one? Look at even pick 6 did Isga is his name.
What do we got here? Anything?
No. All I'm seeing is starts in 55 minutes. I don't know. I'm getting excited.
Yeah, I don't see much.
Nope. I mean, if we knew the game plan was going and just blanket him, but I mean, it's a striker at heart. I think it's a striking-based grappler if you want to go with the Russian. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it.
And again, you said the way you were building your lineups is not going to go towards Ismagakmiev, right? It's going to be more getting these underdogs like a Dalby to kind of get up towards those Yakiev and Tsarukyan, which is a fine way to digest this card. We move on to the next fight of the night, where we see Luke Riley making his debut against Bogdan Grad. Luke Riley, the other training partner of Patty, right? And a guy that has a lot of prospect love coming into the UFC. I don't think he even had to go through the Contender Series. They said, here you go, buddy, right in. And he gets a stern test, I would say. I mean, it's not like he's going in here as a minus 800 favorite like you would imagine against a bum. The line has stayed pretty tight on Bogdan at a plus 210. Bogdan is like a generalist, but he has tools, and he certainly has tools to win this fight. I'm going to probably be on the same thing that you are, grappling, right? What has Luke Riley in the regionals struggled? Takedowns. He has not done well against takedowns. I think we're a little bit of a trap, though, because like I can very well see Bogdan go in there, get a takedown in the first, win it. Then you have a coin flip, where like there's a takedown, they get stood up in the second, and then it's flip a coin, and then Luke takes it over late because Bogdan isn't the best at harding it out and keeping it forward. He will continue to push forward on the pressure, which is going to be good for us, especially for takedowns, but I think he's going to eat some damage coming in regardless. So I think it's more of a coin flip type of fight, which leans me towards Grad. I just think Luke is really a narrow window on this slate for fantasy to score. Best price on the market. If you think Grad gets it done inside the distance, DraftKings Sportsbook, a plus 450. We've got a lot of good numbers here on DraftKings. Plus 120 for Riley inside the distance. So, you would imagine the ownership's going to follow him, but I think Bogdan Grad is going to be one of the favorite underdogs for people on this slate. 30% owned. It's probably going to be a third of the field playing them.
Yeah, and it makes sense for me because the path is there for Bogdan Grad, and we've seen it with his fights, like his recent fights in the UFC and the Dana White's Contender Series fight. Takedowns were a big part of his game plan. And when you look at him and you watch him fight initially, you don't really think that. He's a guy who moves forward relentlessly. He's tough. Doesn't always move his head very well. He has power. He's definitely someone that on the feet can take damage and still move forward. And I do think Luke Riley does hold the advantage on the feet. There is a gap there. I think he's a little more clean on the feet. So I definitely see his path on the feet. But on the ground is where I think Bogdan can have an advantage. And I think Bogdan is going to press forward, and I think you're going to see multiple takedowns. If Bogdan's winning this fight, I think he's getting 3+ takedowns. I think he's controlling him a little bit on the ground, even though his control isn't the best, but that means we could get another takedown and another takedown. You know what I mean? So and if he does take him down, I've seen Luke Riley get controlled for large parts of fights against non-UFC fighters. So that's definitely got to be the path for someone like Bogdan Grad, and it would score well in DraftKings. And yeah, I think he's got a path to winning this fight. So
is it a ladder spot? Are you Are you thinking there's going to be spam
What's the
takedowns?
what's the line right now?
Well,
Like,
right. Well, two things. One, I just had to look on the offshore stuff. Minus 1,000 most takedowns for Grad. That's crazy.
yeah.
Line. But that's just strictly one versus the other guy. We have Bogdan Grad starting at 3 takedowns at plus 130 on DraftKings. 4, 5, 6, 6. The biggest leg is plus 650. So it's pretty tight. They didn't even bother with double digits. They said no. That's a direct path for him to score. Let me talk about fantasy because that's where I like to shine. This is a trap fight to me because if Bogdan Grad gets those takedowns, even though he's a good 7,100, he's going to have to win. And I think that Luke's going to get that rub. If there's an A side and a B side of this fight, there's a very clear A side, right, in Luke Riley. In the flashy striking, we've seen the judges favor the striking. So, I think that there's a world where Grad stalls out Riley. Riley wins a 29-28, and there's not a lot to be had from fantasy. Obviously, that means Grad is the side to play for fantasy or not. And I think that this fight potentially busts, and there's a lot of love here. I mean, you're looking at 20% plus, so like 50 or 60% of the field is going to play one of these guys. Are you going to be heavy on this just because of the potential path of victory for Bogdan?
I'm going to be
I know you like Bogdan.
I'm going to be heavy on the Bogdan side. I think he's tough enough to at least withstand, through like a round and a half. So if Luke Riley finds a finish, I think it's later in the fight. And I don't know if that's going to score that well because I think he could be on his back for a little bit early in the beginning. And then like Bogdan slows down. Maybe the takedowns are a little sloppier. Luke finds like a second or third round finish. And at 9,200, he's going to have to get off a bunch of volume because what'd you say about the most takedown line? It's like minus 1,000 or whatever.
Yeah,
Luke Riley's not going for his own takedowns. So
no.
we can throw out the scoring from like the takedown. So you either need an early finish, which is possible, but I think Bogdan's tough enough to fade the early finish and withstand. Even if Luke Riley does find a finish, I think it's later in the fight. So, if you're betting Luke Riley, I like second or third round KO if you were doing something like that. But yeah, I'm going to be heavy on the Bogdan side, low on the Luke side.
Pick 6 locked the takedown line. When you look at control time, that's a very nice number right there, 2.5, and speculative, right?
I like the 2.5 number.
It is a really, really good number. And regardless, shouldn't he be locking his chin against the body, even if it's on the feet, just fucking holding him so he doesn't have any damage coming his way?
I think he's going to try and get him up against the fence and make it a little, because at space, he's going to lose. And he knows this, I think. Yep. So, the way he wins is to get in Luke Riley's face, push him up against the fence, be a little dirty, try and get takedowns and go from there. That's his path. So awesome. I also did sprinkle the 11-1 submission prop. I couldn't help myself. I gave a little sprinkle. Yeah.
I don't hate it. I mean, it's the accurate line out there, and
I think this is towards you.
Budapest. I like Budapest. That's me. What's min salary I use? On a slate like this, what, like 49.6 is a little aggressive. I mean, I think you can get a little more aggressive, but I think 49.6 would be a good one. What do you think on this slate? Because I think it's slate dependent, right?
Yeah, it's slate dependent. I'm probably a little lower than you. Would I go 49.3 or something like that? But
that's aggressive on a slate that could have like multiple 100-point winners.
Yep.
Anyways, we're gonna speed through some of these breakdowns here because we're only about 45 minutes away before lock. But tell me about Run Pure Sports and what we're doing here, and what we got going on, because it's not just MMA. This is college football day as well.
Yeah, college football, college basketball. We got it all. So make sure you check it out. I don't want to go too long with the spiel. So, just smash the like button on the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not. subscribed, and rumpyoursports.com, Rumpier Premium. If you want all sports, we got. If DraftKings offers it, we got it for you. We got it covered for you. So check us out, and
I like niche sports.
Breakdown.
Niche sports are fun, man. I don't. I wish we had the college stuff here in Mass. Regardless, what we do, it's depressing. It's okay. My aunt is number one in the world in college sports. Outside of Mass. Yuri Haraguchi back in the UFC against Tagir Ulanbekov. Tagir is the favorite here, of course, at minus 238 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Wow, line's coming down a little over the last 24 hours. Haraguchi coming in at a plus 195 underdog. I'm going to give it to you right away. Haraguchi coming back in a guy who absolutely was scoring or getting scored on when he was in the UFC.
Yeah, and this is a dude who's fought a lot of good competition. You know what I mean? He fought Demetrius Johnson back in the day. People might not remember him. He was in the UFC, Mike, right? Mm-hmm. A while back. He's only like 16. 34 or 35, by the way, too. He's a little older, but he's not like 40 or anything like that. And we are talking like 8-10 years ago. This dude was in the UFC. So good fighter. Coming back in the UFC, gets another, in my opinion, solid fighter in Tagir, and I've been on Tagir a lot in his recent fights. He's obviously been getting wins and stuff like that. I will say though, like, I think this is a close fight. If this was in a different spot, I would be loading up on Haraguchi money line right now, because I think this line should be closer to a pick'em, honestly. Tagir has the length. He's going to be like the longer. He's going to use those T kicks. He's going to be like got the length and stuff like that. But I think Haraguchi's still a good fighter and a solid all around fighter to where he can make this a close fight. I don't know how well it's going to score in fantasy, the way he's going to make it a close fight, but I think he's worth taking shots on at his price tag. And I'm going to bet it, but I don't feel as comfortable being where we're at, Mike, because Tagir, I feel like, is going to fight also in a close fight. And when it's like, maybe I should just bet split decision, whatever that is.
Do that every time Ulanbekov is in a fight, because optics will never be for this guy.
Never.
Unfortunately, he's got Habibi in his corner. I mean, Habib's going to be screaming, "Great takedown!" And he's not going to be getting the takedown. I'll just be like holding him by the shorts while he's on the mat. Haraguchi is a very interesting play. I want to get to more of him, just like you were alluding to a minute ago. And it's strictly because I wish it was a car crash. If I knew that this fight was going to be two guys going for it, laying it on the line, and a smaller cage, potentially the apex, I'm getting higher on both of these guys, to be quite frank. But we're at the bigger octagon that travels around. We're at a quote-unquote home game for Ulanbekov. It's really not, but you know what I'm saying, right? Mm-hmm. Middle East, it is. Essentially, if it goes to the scorecards, it's very likely to go towards him. But Haraguchi, like I was alluding to, he's a guy that scored very damn well in his UFC fights. So,
fight to be won by split or majority decision, plus 300 on DraftKings. I'm betting it now.
Yeah, not a bad one. And the other way to digest that is taking Haraguchi plus 3.5, by the way. That's the other way to bet it. It's going to be juiced, but it covers that outcome as well. 11% owned for Haraguchi. It's very easy to get over on him. And I talked about potential guys that are low owned as underdogs that I like to take a stand on. I think somebody in chat also asked, what would my low owned pool be? Would he be in that pool? I'm trying to remember. Somebody asked for like a low-owned pool for SaberSim.
Would he be in the pool? I mean, you're talking Haraguchi, right?
Yeah, of course. Yep.
I feel like this fight's going to score like shit if he wins. That's my problem.
But don't you want a car crash? I want like
Well, yeah, I don't think we're going
go.
to get the car crash. I want the car crash. Yes, of course I do. I always want the car crash. We don't always get what we want. So that's the unfortunate thing. But
Well, it's not like it's Tim Elliott
gotta be
going
lower.
against Ulanbekov either.
Like I think Beckset would be in that pool. I think you could throw Shamrock in that pool.
I agree with Beckset, Almacan, 100%.
I'm trying to look and see if there's anyone else that just like a low owned pool. I mean, those would be the two I'd come out with like right off the head. You could throw one of Horiguchi or Dalby in the pool.
Yep. That's why, and it's strictly because, I mean, it's a guy that's like 10% owned. He's, if not top 3, the second, maybe second lowest owned guy on the slate, Haraguchi. And it's because they think he's going to get stalled out through those takedowns. Pick 6 market, I can't imagine we're going to have anything. I wish it was on the feet. I'd have Haraguchi over 32.5 on pick 6 all day. Ulanbekov, I think you can't touch anything because he has upside with those takedowns, right? Like, if anything, the fight time, but you and I, we're not touching a 0.7x.
No, I don't think I'm gonna touch it. So yeah, I could see Tagir getting under on the fantasy points, but I don't know if we need to go there.
Can I ask a silly question?
There is a size difference. Yes,
yeah, definitely there is. But Ulanbekov does not fight to this the size difference, and he never has, and I don't think he ever will.
Not really his game. Like I said, he does use some of the weapons, but he doesn't use it as well as he should.
Silly question. Who would you rather have, Ulanbekov or Almabayev? I've been thinking this all week, and just from a pure, because they're essentially the same exact play. I mean, Ulanbekov is going to be a little bit higher owned, but they're like the same play.
Yeah, who is it?
Almabayev and Ulanbekov.
Yeah, I think I'd rather Almabayev. I think I can see him finishing more than I could see Tagir. And that's where you're going to get the ultimate better score.
Yep. And we move on to a fight. You said you wanted a piece of, potentially staying away from that last one if it's not a car crash. But if you do have a car crash, looking at Waldo Cortez Acosta stepping in on 24 hours, essentially, maybe 36 hours notice, taking on Shamil Gaziev. We have Waldo. Where in the world is Waldo as a favorite coming in? A -150. He just made weight, cut all the weight. I think he was like 20 pounds heavier, and he still made weight. Very impressive. Very impressive to take the fight. Big balls of steel. There's a lot going against this guy here, though. Gaziev's going to have the crowd. He's from that area, right? General area. He's +124 at home, quote unquote, and we've seen him gas out. I think everybody, the betting line is caking in that we've seen Gaziev gas out. Gaziev. But I mean, he does usually win the first round. He usually doesn't go towards the grappling. He potentially has that to go. I was surprised at the betting line. Were you?
With this line?
Yeah, I mean, recency bias is cooked in. That's Waldo coming off the win.
I'm not, because I think Waldo is better than Shamil, but I'm surprised here with the short notice that it's
that's everything.
Yeah,
in.
I think that's like telling you something though, right? Like what would this line be in a normal place? Full camp, not short notice, right? What would the line be?
Probably closer to -200, right? For Costa.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so you're getting value on Waldo, even though it's, it is short notice and it is.
Well, the bettors would have pushed it to -200. I don't think they open it there. I think they open it close to a pick'em and let the bettors bet it all the way up.
I think they'd open it to what it is right now, honestly. I think it would open at like -130, -140, and would get bet to.
So let me also lay on the table 8,400 for Gaziev. You have 2 guys priced as favorites in this spot. I don't know if we've ever been dealt this. I've been in this MMA streets for a very long time. And he's going to be like 12.5% owned for Gaziev. We have Waldo at about 15%. So just both these guys at 30%, I think you almost have to take a stand here, especially if there's a finish. It's all caked in a finish. And if somebody dominates the fight, Gaziev has more ability to score. I think Waldo is going to be more reliant on volume striking, and that's something he hasn't really done.
Yeah. So first of all, I think that this is a great fight for fantasy. The way Shamil Gaziev fights, he's going to push the envelope. And on top of it, Waldo's coming in on short notice, off of eating only one burger, not two, but he is not probably as prepared for a 3-round war. So I think both those things mean we're going to get a car crash, Mike, and we're going to get an under fight. And I told you guys in the last fight Waldo fought, and I think a lot of the people that don't like Waldo, they're still a little mad about their boy Delija, who clearly fouled Waldo. Waldo got time. He didn't quit like we all get mad about, right? And then Waldo goes out there and finishes dude with one eye. And everyone's like, that's bullshit. He had him finished. It's like, though, if he quit, Mike, if he said, I'm not fighting anymore, you know how pissed those people would be that he quit and you got the no contest? Yeah. So it's funny how things work and how people are like, oh, that's bullshit. He was finished. And then it's like, oh, but you would have got a no contest. You wouldn't have got the finish because he clearly poked him in the eye and he clearly was covering his eye after that. And then he goes out there like we want fighters to do and fight with one eye. And he finishes your boy. And everyone's like, that's such no, that's what happens when you can't fucking see. You're just like, I'm going to move forward and I'm going to throw. He did what we all wanted. And you guys were just mad about the outcome. But I told you in that fight too, that fight was going to be a banger. That fight was going to smash. I was all over Waldo in that fight. Maybe I was lucky. I don't care. He won. I think this fight is going to smash. I think
Why is it 15%? Why is it 15% for both of these guys?
I don't know, because it makes sense. Why is Waldo just going to sit back? Even if he does sit back, Shamil's not just going to allow that. He's going to move forward.
Either of these guys could gas out. I mean, let's be honest.
Case in point right here, people. Look at Big T 44 DFS. I guarantee you he did not. I guarantee you he was not on Waldo. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
And the under, you and I both like. I think I would even bet. Did you bet the under yet?
Yes, I did.
Good. I mean, I think that should close. That line should be a lot lower due to the fact of the late notice, the ability for Shamil to gas out. It's just the stylistic matchup of the inherent nature, right? It's power striking versus technical striking.
And we saw what happened when Waldo was kind of backed into a corner, like either quit or you got to go and fight. Because I fully believe if Waldo gets to the stool, Mike, I think he's done. I think he gets finished in the next round. I think the eye thing is like too much to overcome.
Did you like the pirate thing? He's been wearing a patch because of the
yes, I love that.
I love marketable guys. Marketable guys that know what they're trying to do. And you know what? I've seen it all over Twitter. It's like Donald Cerrone. Remember every other week he'd be fighting? This is the heavyweight Donald Cerrone now. What I like is leverage.
Yo, you got to find Waldo. Finding Waldo. Great game. Love that. Always got to do it.
It's great unless you're colorblind. T, how the hell did you do it? Aren't you colorblind too, like me?
Yeah, Tony's definitely colorblind. So
it's not fun when you're colorblind. Gaziev actually has a better inside the distance line, and that's because, like we said, he's got two paths to it, in my opinion. He's got the ability to go out there, blitz him, take him out early, or if Waldo does gas out, the dude just flew on a plane for like 13 hours to get over here. There's multiple paths to this. I would be surprised if I don't have it.
He's going to come out there and be like, I got to get this done in a round and a half.
Yeah.
Like, I got to get this thing. I got to get this thing done. And Shamil's going to want to just grind on this dude too. So like if he starts to slow down, like Shamil's going to sense it, but Shamil could also slow down because we've already seen it happen many times. So I think there's so many paths to this fight in finishing.
And way over the field for me. 15% is bizarre for both of these guys. 71 points for basically both of them on fantasy pick 6 here. I don't see anything. No takedown lines. Give me the takedown for somebody here, I think. I think there could be a takedown, but no, nothing to be had.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the next fight where we need to keep it moving.
Was there an under on strikes, Mike? There was no under on strikes?
Just Waldo. And
I would take the under.
No, but here's the problem. Let me talk you out of it. If Gaziev does gas out, you got that 100-piece combo. It depends on who the fuck is reffing the thing.
I don't think we're getting the 100-piece combo. I think we're getting
a 1-2 combo.
Yeah. Waldo throws heat, man, when he throws. It's Shamil that I worry about with the combo. Like Waldo throws, he's trying to put you out when he throws. The problem is he just doesn't go for it as much normally, but I think that's different in this fight. I feel like this fight, he's going to feel like he has to more than in other fights.
Yeah.
But let's go to the next fight because we only got 30 minutes. I
was going to say Bektik Orolbai versus Jack Hermanson. Very interesting fight. We have Orolbai coming in as a -192 favorite. Come back on Jack Hermanson as a +160 on DraftKings Sportsbook. A little bit of love coming in on Jack. Good old Jackie boy. Going down in weight late in his career. Do you have concerns about that? And two, McBektik going up in weight. Have we really ever seen this where there's like that, both guys having a different weight division? I'm not sure. Jack is looking pretty big, though. I'm going to be honest, against Orolbai.
He looks good, man.
Yeah.
He looks freaking good.
And Orolbai is an interesting case. The guy does not wear damage well. If he gets hit, his eye is swelling up. Like, he does not wear damage up well at all. Jack has jiu-jitsu in his back pocket. That could negate some of the takedowns from Orolbai. People probably don't want to get behind Hermanson after that big loss last time, right? Like, nobody wants to, with any confidence, get him after he was deaded on the mat by RoboCop. When you look at ownership on this fight, Orolbai coming in low owned, about 20%. For a favorite, and Hermanson only 20 himself. So overall, a lower owned fight. Do you see this potentially scoring?
Yes. I think this could score just because of the way that Orolbai fights. You know what I mean? He's going to move forward and kind of push through. Hermanson is pretty tough. Orolbai, also very tough, but where's the damage? Like you said, I think we could see a nice score with whoever wins in this fight. You've seen Orolbai in pretty much all of his wins. He's scoring well, right? He can get takedowns. He can control. He can, battle on the feet. And I think it's going to almost force, like, Jack's not one, like, where when he's winning, it's always the best scores. But I think he's one, like, he can definitely volume up the strikes. He's got, some takedowns in his own right. He's got some grappling in his own right. So, and I put it in the chat. I was like, -205 or whatever he opened at was crazy. I get the weight cut and moving down and all that stuff. But I was like, Orolbai gets hit a lot. He wears damage a ton. So, like, damage should be greater than anything else. So, like, if there's damage in the fight, like, that could affect the scorecards, even if Orolbai has a little more control or something like that. So I think Hermanson's live. The line is starting to crash right now. We're at what? +154 on DraftKings, down from like +205, +210 or whatever it was. I think people saw Jack on the scale and he looked fucking good, right, Mike? And I think people are like, all right, he didn't look like shit. He's got the tools to maybe, volume Orolbai up on the feet. He's got the jab. I think it's going to be heavily involved here. And yeah, I mean, we've seen in certain fights, Mike, the volume go up for him a little bit depending on the opponent. And I think Orolbai is an opponent that he might have to put out a little more volume in. So I like Jack here. This is another fight you can target both sides, but I'm going to lean more on the dog at 7,200.
Yeah, two things. Jack does not need a finish to make an optimal lineup. He could just out-volume him on the feet. He could just do enough damage. I think if other things go right on the slate, he could be a very important underdog. And the other thing too is 1.5
Also,
take.
I bet this prop earlier.
What's the dude on Twitter that is like, the crazy bets and everything, and he puts it in.
No idea.
He put it out there earlier in the week. One of the big bettors, and he said Jack by sub was like something crazy too. It was like plus 2,200 earlier in the week.
I think I got it at 14-1. I don't know what it was earlier, but
plus 1,600 on DraftKings.
yeah, I didn't get that line, so I got it a little lower than that line. But
I'm trying to see where the biggest number was. Anyways,
whatever.
Jack takedown line is 1.5 too, which is funny. It's juiced to the under minus 200, but that's saying essentially he could impose his will deeper down the stretch too, which means more scoring for him. I do like him as an underdog pick, and like you alluded to, Oral By is an interesting pick as well because he's going to be lower owned of the upper echelon guys. I think it's easy to get over on him, and none of his fights have disappointed so far. So very interesting play on both sides there. We move on to the next fight of the night where we see Volkan Ozdemir versus Alonzo Menifield. For fantasy wise, it's going to be pretty simple. Finish or no finish. That's where the fantasy equity lies. Minus 238 for Volkan. Menifield a plus 195. What do you think? I mean, is there a finish? I think that's what it comes down to. Total in this fight is minus 135 for the under 2.5 rounds. It's like Menifield fights that are expected to go to a decision don't. The ones that are expected to go to a decision, it's like they always disappoint. He gets finished. Like, it's an unpredictable guy with durability. And Volkan has been facing the best people. The narrative coming into this one is Volkan's been against the best people in the world. Menifield's kind of working his way up, right? The win against C is pretty good, but that was a nothing burger of a fight. They did nothing in that fight. Volkan obviously been fighting Oldberg, and I don't think we factor in Johnny Walker anymore, but something's going to give here. I don't hate taking a shot on Volkan for that first round equity. Actually, you know what? Both of these guys, right? But Menifield doesn't come out hot. He doesn't always go for it. Yeah,
no, he doesn't. And I will say too, like Alonzo Menifield, like, he's going to decision with, we're talking like, guys like Sai and Walker and stuff like that, where he's winning. But like, those guys aren't like amazing by any chance. He's losing to the guys I feel like he should lose to. Volkan, kind of similar, but I think, he goes to a decision with Oldberg. Dude's definitely tough. He throws with power, finishing Guskov fight. That looks a little better, right? Guskov win looks better on the resume now, finishing Guskov. He's good. But yeah, I think it's an interesting fight here. I could see it. Both these guys are tough. If I thought there was a finish, I would definitely lean the Volkan side. But it wouldn't shock me if it went to a decision. So I don't know if it fit. Obviously, you want to finish in DFS. That's why I'd be higher on Ozdemir if you think there's a finish. But if you think it goes to the cards, then this fight's gonna bust.
You think there's a takedown? Because it would probably be from Menifield, no? I mean, I don't think there's takedown.
I don't know if he's going to get it. I mean, maybe he'll get a takedown. I still don't think he's going to score enough to where.
Well, it was a trap question, because I think if there's a takedown, it stalls out scoring even more.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
100%.
I don't think there will be, but yeah, we just talked about Hermanson. We both think he's a good dog play. Yep.
Absolutely. Pick 6 wise on this one. We didn't look at this one yet.
I like the Jack Hermanson. I think you could go over on his significant strikes.
I wish I could go under on that control time.
I know, me too.
And it would have been a plus multiplier as well.
Yeah.
We're adding a lot of legs. Will it hold multiple legs, or will it stop at 6? Like, can I hold
6? Why? What are we at right now?
We're at 5.
Oh, okay. So we could hold off if we don't like it. We'll move on.
Yep. So we've got which one are we on now?
Bilal.
Oh, no. We didn't look at the Menifield market.
Oh, yeah.
We both know there's not going to be anything here. I mean,
No.
honestly, it's the time, but I just think Menifield's been burnt multiple times in the past, right? Like,
Yeah, for me, it would be the under on strikes for Vulcan or the over on fantasy points, but
don't
we
need to go
can
there.
go to the next two.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if we don't get this fight done in 2 minutes, I think there's something wrong with us. We have Ian Gary versus Bilal Muhammad. Ian Gary coming in at a minus 290 on DraftKings Sportsbook. All the money coming down on him. Jesus. Look at this at the end of the week. Versus Bilal Muhammad's plus 235. Yeah, not a lot to be had here for fantasy. Totals obviously highly expected to go to a decision, minus 360 to go over 2.5. I look at this as a women's fight, don't you? And not the ugly women's fight, more like competitive women's fight.
Yeah, I think if you are a fan of Machado Gary, I think this is one of those fights where if he can't score well in this fight, in a 3-round fight, he's just never gonna do it in the 3 round. Because like Bilal Muhammad is gonna stay in his face, Mike. Right? He's a pressure fighter. He's gonna move forward. He's gonna be in your face. This is the opportunity for someone like Machado Gary to get a finish here. So I think if you're looking at like a contrarian bet, Machado Gary plus 400 via KO is interesting, even though Bilal Muhammad is tough and Machado Gary is a smart fighter. But like he's going to present those opportunities, I think, for Ian if he wants to. But I could see Bilal having some success if the pressure just becomes too much. And don't forget, Machado Gary in certain fights has leaned on his grappling a little bit. I don't know if he's going to do that here.
People are thinking Muhammad is going for takedowns. I would say Gary.
I don't think either of them are going to. I think both of them are going to stand, and I think they're going to strike.
But
I think
offshore books.
Bilal literally stood and struck with Jack Della Maddalena. If he's doing that, I think I think he's going to try and do that with Machado Gary, whether it's right or wrong or whatever. Also, though, the pressure, the pace that Bilal fights at with 3-round fights, this isn't a 5-round fight, right? So it's a little different. I wish it was kind of a 5-round fight.
Look at this outlier on the market. Bilal Muhammad inside the distance, 11-1. By far the bet. DraftKings is like, please, will you take some Bilal inside the distance?
Yeah,
look
we're
at
not
that
doing
number
that.
compared to everywhere else.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
No,
but
we're not. But I'm just saying, it's hilarious.
I do think he's a little more live than the line would, suggest here. But I also think that Machado Gary is live to potentially finish a fight. As crazy as that sounds, because he hasn't done it in his last like 6 fights.
8,800 on fantasy. This fight is just crossed off, and I think Muhammad could win a 60-point win, which even Pick Six is saying the same thing, right? Even in a win, he could hit under that. I just don't need to go to either of these guys on this slate. Pick Six wise, are you seeing anything?
Yeah, strikes. If we think it's a 3-round, 44 over 44.5, Bilal's gonna take strikes, but I think he's going to also land some as well.
Yeah, I mean, look at the UFC stat page. There are almost 5 significant strikes per minute. That is beautiful output, and I think the durability is there for both of them. I really like that call. I guess the problem is, which one do you want? I mean, the underdog, quote unquote, in a close fight is probably the way to go, right? 44.5.
Yeah.
Because even if it's competitive, it doesn't necessarily matter.
I'm definitely not Xing out Bilal. I agree.
In Abu Dhabi, it's a very good point. It's for win equity, but then we talk about stronger plays. I mean, 7,400. He's competing with the likes of Perez.
Yeah, but those aren't great fighters either. Like, you're making the point even more.
Hermanson.
The point against Bilal would be Machado Gary's so defensively sound, and he's going to fight smart. He's going to try and use his footwork. I think he's going to try and dance around the cage a ton. And Bilal and his pressure kind of get to Ian Machado Gary and, overwhelm him is more, I think, the path.
everyone points to what was the Song Kanan. Remember the Song Kanan knocked Gary down? That was a long time ago, which is surprising. But yeah,
Pressure.
I understand. Moving on to the main event of the evening. Takedowns or no takedowns? Will it be a boring main event? Probably likely will. We'll talk about Wellmaker in a minute. Don't bring that up during the main event breakdown. That's just going to make me
No,
angry.
we're not even talking about it. We're just moving past it. We got 15 minutes till this lock.
Arman Tsarukyan minus 750 favorite versus Dan Hooker plus 525 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Over under is 3.5 rounds. Both sides, Mike, minus 115. So they're saying, yep, the takedowns are going to be there, and he's just going to lay and pray. Is it going to be a boring fight to watch? It very likely might be, but Tsarukyan has been nothing but an absolute DraftKings killer. Do you have any balls to take a shot on Hooker? I mean, it's going to be Hooker late or Hooker by split decision if he wins. I don't think he wins. I think he just gets grounded. It's very easy to get to his legs. Was it Matthäus Gamrot that got to him and then Gamrot lost because he wore damage? I think Tsarukyan can be faster, avoid the damage. Even if he keeps it on the feet, I honestly think it might be a little bit more competitive than Gamrot would be. Your brethren, right, Tsarukyan, he dominates. I mean, it's so easy to get him into your lineups, 9,500. I told you, he's the same play as Yakiev to me, and it's easy to get both guys in your lineups if you want to go that route. But you're looking at ownership on Dan Hooker, I'm seeing him at 20% and 54% for Tsarukyan. What are you doing with this fight?
Yeah, so last time Dan Hooker fought, I told y'all, all you motherfuckers, that he was a dog and he was going to win that fight against Gamrot. And it played out exactly the way I thought. And I told you exactly why. Is Gamrot. Gamrot does not have this crazy like jujitsu game. No, he's just like takedowns, and then he just wants to like overwhelm you with takedowns. I told you Dan Hooker was going to withstand it. He was going to be tougher. He was going to outlast it, and then he was going to put it on him. And that's exactly what happened. Dan Hooker is one of the toughest fighters in the UFC, no doubt in my mind. I still have no idea how he took that head kick from, what was it, Jalen Turner, and survived the head kick, and then ended up finishing him after that. It was just like a bloody mess, and he's just sitting there like laughing as he's like one of the funny like Dan Hooker moment. Or no, he didn't finish him, but he was just like all over him after that. And it's just like, that's Dan Hooker. He's gonna be he's gonna try and out tough you. The problem with that is when you fight someone as high level as Arman Tsarukyan. This is not Matthäus Gamrot. Everyone's going to be like, oh, he just beat Gamrot, and he's going to do the same thing. He's going to start to stuff the takedowns late. Arman Tsarukyan has amazing control. He's got great grappling. I mean, he's training with Chimaev, so I'm sure it's improving as well. And there's just a difference in level, I think, to what we saw with Gamrot. And I think Arman's going to be more dangerous, and Dan's not going to settle, Mike. So like Dan is going to get taken down. He's never going to settle. And that's why I liked him against Matthäus, because I was like, even if he gets taken down, he's going to make Matthäus like mat return him constantly. He's just going to make him keep working and keep working. Arman, I think, is going to have a better chance at controlling him, or he's going to have a better chance at capitalizing on a Dan Hooker mistake, trying to get back to his feet. And that's how I think this fight ultimately does finish, is Dan makes a mistake, Arman capitalizes on the mistake, and then it's either heavy ground and pound, Dan's wearing damage. And maybe Dan's tough enough where Arman wins via sub, because he's like, screw this. I know he doesn't have a ton of subs on his record, but Dan's so tough. Like, he's gonna, I don't think he's gonna quit. So he might have to finish him in a different way than a KO. So I think this fight either ends via sub for Arman or just decision fight. But I still think it's a fun fight, because I think there's going to be action. I think Arman's going to look to put off damage when he's on the ground, and I think Dan's not going to settle on the ground. So all things to me sound like good fight, and Yeah, I'm obviously on the Armin side, but I get anyone that says Dan Hooker's tough and he can withstand Armin's pressure early and take him to deep waters and stuff like that. But I will still say Armin, one of the few dudes to, go with Islam and grapple and wrestle and counter wrestle and stuff like. Just keep that in mind. Like that's how high level this dude is.
He got finished by Nina Drama.
I mean, you'd get finished by Nina Drama. I'd get finished by Nina Drama. We'd all get finished by Nina. Any guy in there saying they wouldn't. No way you're not allowing Nina Drama to get you in a triangle, Mike.
Yep.
Zero shot.
Minus 13.5 is the spread for Armin Tsarukyan, and it's minus 205.
I mean, they're saying there's a finish.
Never seen that in my life.
They're saying there's a finish, though.
DraftKings Sportsbook, best price on the market, minus 150. I think if you want that piece, that makes a lot of sense. Use DraftKings for that play. When we're looking at fantasy, I think it is just it's a plug and play. If you're not making this a decision point right away in your lineups, am I playing main event? Am I playing that Yakiev? And if you're playing Hooker, I think there's such a narrow, like I would go under Hooker at 20% because I think even he would get cooked. A 4th or a 5th round finish for Hooker might not even score well. And I know that that's crazy, but it's legit. He could score very poorly. And there's such other plays like that Grod that you liked and, other plays that I like sprinkling in, right? Like, I think it's difficult to get the Hooker on this slate. But there's an A side, there's an A++ side. Very easy to get over the field on Tsarukyan if you just lock him in. Pick 6 buys. I wish I could get the under, but I also think Hooker could get a little competitive. If Tsarukyan feels frisky, you just want to stay there. But not a lot to be had here, is there?
No, I mean, I think Armin probably does get over that number.
I like your call about once he's in top position, he could just rain down elbows. And if he's got that control, could be a crucifix. He just gets him stuck, and then it's a mercy stoppage. And like I say,
because I don't think Dan's getting put out.
No, it's a mercy.
He's so tough.
It's a doctor stoppage.
It's the judges saving Dan from him, or the ref saving Dan from himself, pretty much. Like, come on, dude. But it is the main event, and I think they're gonna let him go a little bit. So that could go into the over on strikes, I guess, if you like the over on strikes. But do we have anything left, or do we already have 6?
No, we got 6 right now already.
Oh, perfect. All right. So what do we got?
We've got the first fight of the night. Freeman over. Denzel Freeman, 92.5 fantasy points, correlates to that early finish or a dominant grapple. We have Aliyev over 2.5 takedowns. Yeah, stick to the game plan, right? Just go for those takedowns at will. We like Almacan to keep this thing competitive, multiple outs to getting the over 25.5 significant strikes. Bogdan, go in there with the game plan to hold the prospect, the red hot prospect, Luke Riley, down 2.5 minutes of control time. I like that one as well. Cortez Acosta, 46.5 significant strikes. We must have gotten the under on that. Yep, under. We also have Bilal Muhammad over 44.5 significant strikes. A competitive fight at nature, minus 500-600 to go to a decision. Very, very obvious type of situation there. We've got 100 to win 18 XR money here. Submitting that now for us. Make sure you're getting those picks in on pick 6. What do we have left? Like about 5 minutes. Final breakdown for the slate. I'll give how I'm going to handle it. It looks like you're living in that middle range, but you're also just taking one of the upper echelon guys. Is that right?
Yeah.
You're not.
I mean, I might have 2. I don't know.
But I'm saying you didn't like the game plan of Tsarukyan and Yakiev together, right?
I'm saying I said you don't like that.
No.
I said you don't like that.
Yeah. Hey, Isaac. Of course. Let's get you on here, man. We got Isaac in chat. Your buddy.
Isaac Gary in UFC. I need a job. You do need a job, brother. You need a good attorney too.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm honestly taking a rule. I like the mixing a bunch of the underdogs, and like the Loader, Horiguchi, Perez. And I'm going to be wild. I'm going to have Bioho in the first fight. And it's just because it's a great leverage spot against a high-owned Freeman. At least I can rebuild later in my lineups, right? I mean, there's a showdown slate in an hour or two. It's not a bad opportunity to buy on a crazy spot where I would normally, on a Bioho, be all over him on a Contender Series. So the first fight of the night literally sets the tone here, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does set the tone, and it's a good card, man. We got
like
a good card here.
You like grad, so when you're building, you're probably getting a lot of salary relief by getting the grad, right?
Yeah, I like grad. I'm getting a ton of grad too. So
you know what
yeah,
inherently is different? If you take a grad in an Almacon, that's right away going to be different because they're going to be builds that it's grad Taporia, and that's how people are going to build. They're just going to lock Taporia basically. And I think that's a bad thing to do on this slate.
Yeah, I think Taporia is going to be heavily owned. So that's if you're under on him, then that's going to be different. I think he's going to get pushed in those mid-tier builds. I think he's going to hit a lot of mid-tier builds, and that fight could easily bust too.
I think it will. I think it's very likely that it can, and people have heavily invested. Last thing for us, Samil Giziev and Waldo. I would be surprised if either of these guys don't score very well. And at 15% basically for both of these guys, it's very easy to get overweight, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a good fight to target. We're both going to target it, and I like it.
I like when we uncover winners. Bets. Well, you always tell me I always try to log off without a bet.
You do.
Honestly, I like good value. TSARUKYAN, DraftKings Sportsbook, -150. If I don't have that by the end of lock because of the value, and I like finding the best line out there, that's a great play because, like you said, he's going to go for the back, try to get him out of there. In a mercy stoppage is very likely too. I honestly, in this Qatar first time over here, the A side of the fight, right? Why did he headbutt that? He almost jeopardized another fight, not just the Nina back injury. He almost jeopardized it with a headbutt.
He's such an idiot. The good thing is Dan Hooker probably loved it. That's the sick part of the whole thing is Dan Hooker loved that he headbutted him, and Armin's a friggin' idiot. So what are you going to do? I don't know.
And we both like Almacon, right? That money line, if we don't have a piece of that, they're doing something wrong. 114. That's another spot too where you could have buyback. I know potentially you don't like doing that, JSU, but I do just to mitigate risk. So, getting plus money, and then if Taporia becomes a big underdog, I don't hate that. It's an underdog heavy card. You can sprinkle a round robin if you want to mitigate risk. You can sprinkle on a bunch of dogs, and I think you can be profitable. Those types of dogs that I'll be taking, Perez, Loader. I think you and I really liked Loader as well. I think Loader plus 3.5 isn't a bad play either. Stay on the feet if you have to mitigate risk, potentially cook them later. And I have to say it before lock. I like Aliv. I know you don't like him. I think he can finally get a bunch of takedowns. We even got the over 2.5 takedowns. I know there's only 3 minutes until lock. Give me your bets.
Yeah. So definitely going to be betting Jack Hermanson at plus 150 now. It was like plus 200 earlier when I got it, but I do like him. I like Bexet as a dog. And I like Grod. Those are kind of the three dogs I'm going to be betting from like a money line standpoint. So yeah, that's what I'm on. I took some flyers on some submission props, but yeah, card's about to start. Let's get out of here, guys. Appreciate you watching on this early Saturday morning. Good luck in your DraftKings, UFC, DFS, and betting on DK Sportsbook. For Mike, I'm JSU. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks for the next card. Until then, we're out of here.